Welcome to Stamps Old World UK, the place where every stamp tells a story, every corner holds history, and every collector finds value in the forgotten treasures of the past. In today's video, we are taking a deep dive into one of the most historically rich and visually stunning stamps from the United States, the 15-cent stamp featuring the portrait of Henry Clay. This stamp is more than just ink and paper, it's a powerful symbol of American political heritage, 19th-century engraving craftsmanship, and a treasure trove for stamp collectors across the globe. Whether you are a new collector or a seasoned philatelist, understanding the true worth of this stamp in today's market is essential. So sit back, relax, and join me on this detailed journey through the design, history, rarity, and current dollar value of the 15-cent Henry Clay postage stamp. The stamp itself features a commanding image of Henry Clay, a towering American statesman who played a major role in shaping U.S. politics during the first half of the 19th century. Clay, known as the Great Compromiser, served as Speaker of the House, Secretary of State, and a senator. His vision and leadership left a permanent mark on the development of the American government. It's no surprise that the U.S. Postal Service honored him with this stunning 15-cent issue, a piece that collectors recognize not only for its aesthetic appeal but also for the powerful legacy it represents. The stamp design is a masterclass in classical engraving, with sharp, dark blue ink printed on high-quality paper, framed by a bold oval design with the inscription United States Postage at the top and 15 cents at the bottom. Every detail, from the thick sideburns on Clay's portrait to the fine lines around the frame, reveals the dedication of the engraver and the pride taken in honoring a national figure. Originally issued in the late 19th century, this stamp quickly became part of a larger definitive series representing prominent American leaders. These stamps were not just used for postage, they served as everyday reminders of the people who shaped a young nation. Because of this, millions were printed and circulated, but over the decades, surviving examples in excellent condition have become increasingly rare. Today, the stamp has become a significant piece in the U.S. Classic Definitive series, with demand steadily rising due to its age, historical relevance, and design excellence. Whether found in personal albums, passed down through generations, or discovered in estate sales, this stamp continues to be highly sought after by collectors from all around the world, including many here in the UK. Let's now talk about condition, the most critical factor in determining value. The condition of a stamp includes many factors, whether it is mint or used, if it has original gum on the back, whether it's hinged or unhinged, how well centered the design is, and whether the perforations around the edges are clean and intact. A stamp that has been heavily used with a blurred cancellation mark or one that's poorly centered might only be worth between $10 to $25. These stamps, while not fetching high prices, still hold value for beginning collectors or those who enjoy the historical connection. However, if the stamp is in mint condition with fresh color, sharp perforations, and especially if it has never been hinged, it becomes significantly more valuable. Mint examples with original gum and professional grading can sell for $100 to $400 and beyond, depending on the market and rarity of the print run. In fact, certified versions of this stamp with perfect centering and gum integrity have reached auction prices exceeding $500 in recent years. Now let's consider rarity and grading. While this stamp is not as rare as some early 1847 issues or inverted Jenny types, it still holds strong mid-tier value among classic American stamps. What makes a stamp like this valuable in the eyes of collectors is the combination of history, visual presentation, and preserved quality. Stamps from the late 1800s were frequently handled, folded, or pasted into books, which means that stamps today in pristine condition are extremely hard to come by. Professional grading agencies such as PSE, Professional Stamp Experts, and PF, Philatelic Foundation, can add immense credibility and market value to a stamp by verifying its authenticity and giving it a numerical grade, similar to coin or card grading. A stamp that scores a grade of 90 or higher, meaning near perfect condition, can skyrocket in price, often becoming the centerpiece of a philatelic collection. Now, here's something important for all our UK and international viewers to understand: the global demand for classic US stamps is not limited to American collectors. In fact, collectors across Europe, especially those who specialize in 19th-century global history, seek American stamps like the 15-cent Henry Clay because they reflect a broader narrative of Western leadership and diplomacy. And for viewers in the UK who focus on transatlantic correspondence, this stamp often appears on letters exchanged between the UK and the US during the late 1800s, making it even more collectible as part of postal history. On several British-based online marketplaces and auction houses, this stamp has been listed with starting bids around £70 for a clean used copy, with mint condition versions fetching as much as £300 or more depending on condition and certification. On American platforms such as eBay and Heritage Auctions, authenticated mint copies are listed for hundreds of dollars, and buyers are willing to compete to add this classic to their portfolios. If you own this stamp or come across it in your collection, it is essential to store it properly. Place it in a transparent stamp mount, avoid direct sunlight, and handle it only with stamp tongs to avoid oil transfer from your fingers. Never hinge a mint stamp unless necessary, and consider submitting it for expert evaluation if you suspect it's of high quality. For those looking to buy this stamp, make sure to do your research. Check seller ratings, ask for high-resolution images, and always verify if the stamp is certified. Avoid deals that seem too good to be true, and prioritize buying from reputable sources. The market for rare stamps is growing, and with proper care and knowledge, a stamp like the 15-cent Henry Clay can become both a source of historical fascination and a solid financial investment. As of mid-2025, the collector's market continues to show resilience, especially in categories related to historical political figures. With inflation rising and tangible assets gaining popularity, rare postage stamps are emerging as an attractive niche investment. The Henry Clay stamp, with its rich story and elegant design, is benefiting from this trend. Whether used, unused, or certified, the 15-cent Henry Clay stamp is a true gem, capable of turning a modest album find into a multi-$100 opportunity. So there you have it, a complete overview of one of America's iconic 19th-century stamps. From its historical roots to its artistic excellence, and from its varied pricing to the modern-day collector's strategies, the 15-cent Henry Clay stamp remains a powerful symbol of legacy and value. If you're a stamp lover, treasure hunter, or someone exploring the investment side of philately, this stamp deserves your attention. As always, thank you for watching and being a part of our growing community here on Stamps Old World UK. We bring you stories from across the world of stamps, both well-known and forgotten, so that every collector, no matter where you are, can learn, discover, and grow. Next up, the remarkable 15-cent Abraham Lincoln stamp. This isn't just another vintage stamp, it's a bold statement of historical legacy, of political leadership, of artistry and engraving, and of the enduring fascination collectors have with one of the most admired leaders in world history. The stamp, featuring the somber and determined gaze of Abraham Lincoln, America's 16th president, is more than a collector's item, it's a miniature monument to freedom, unity, and courage. In this video, we'll explore every detail about this stamp, its origins, its design, the men it honors, the conditions that influence its value, and how much it's truly worth in the modern collector's market today, in 2025, expressed in US dollars. Let's begin by understanding the historical foundation of this powerful stamp. The Abraham Lincoln 15-cent stamp was first issued in the latter half of the 19th century, a time when the United States was still recovering from the trauma of Civil War and the assassination of Lincoln himself. Posthumously honored for preserving the Union and ending slavery, Lincoln's image was selected for postage not merely as a tribute, but as a national symbol of resilience. This particular 15-cent issue features a deeply engraved portrait of Lincoln, typically printed in a dark gray-black or slate color, encased in a beautifully balanced design with curved inscriptions reading U.S. postage above and 15 cents below. With its crisp lines, classical serif type, ornamental scrollwork, and perfectly symmetrical layout, it represents one of the finest examples of 19th-century American engraving. Every contour of Lincoln's face, from his cheekbones to the furrows in his brow, was carefully rendered by skilled engravers using traditional methods that involved days of meticulous craftsmanship. Now let us turn our attention to the most important question that collectors all over the world are eager to answer: how much is this stamp worth today? The value of the 15-cent Lincoln stamp in 2025 is shaped by several key factors: condition, centering, gum presence, cancellation markings, printing variations, and whether it has been professionally certified. The most common, circulated examples, those that have been postmarked and may show signs of age or wear, typically trade in the range of $10 to $25. These are still considered valuable due to their historical nature, and are frequently purchased by beginner collectors, history teachers, or Civil War enthusiasts. However, once you begin climbing the ladder of condition and rarity, the prices begin to rise dramatically. A lightly cancelled stamp with good centering and sharp perforations can easily command between $50 and $100. These stamps are excellent additions for intermediate collectors who want quality without venturing into premium pricing. When we move into mint condition territory, especially examples that have never been hinged and still retain their original gum, the market opens up to even more serious buyers. Mint, never hinged versions of this stamp in excellent condition can sell for $200 to $400 and possibly more depending on the demand at the time. But for elite collectors and investors, the true treasures lie in graded and certified examples. When submitted to expert services like the Philatelic Foundation or professional stamp experts, a high-grade Lincoln stamp, say graded XF Superb 95 or 98, becomes a premium investment asset. These examples are exceedingly rare due to the fragility of paper, the wear from circulation, and the century that has passed since their printing. High-end Lincoln stamps can bring in $600 to $1,200, and some auction sales have even breached $2,000, especially when provenance, rarity, and historical use on cover are factors. Speaking of covers, this is a detail many novice collectors overlook. If your Abraham Lincoln 15-cent stamp is still attached to an original envelope or document from the late 1800s, particularly with a clean postmark, military address, or transatlantic destination, you may possess a piece of postal history that's worth even more. Such items, called covers in philatelic terminology, can often fetch between $500 and $2,500, depending on rarity and the content of the letter enclosed. For example, a 15-cent Lincoln stamp on an envelope sent from the US to the United Kingdom or France in the 1870s is not just a stamp, it is a documented piece of international correspondence and a historical artifact. Let's also talk about varieties and printings, because not all Lincoln 15-cent stamps are exactly the same. Differences in paper thickness, color shade, gum type, or even the type of cancellation used can make one version rarer than another. Specialists and philatelists look closely for subtle details, such as the 1870 to 1871 National Bank Note Company issue versus the later Continental Bank Note Company printings. The tiniest detail, a grill on the back, or a color that leans blue-gray instead of black, can completely change the stamp's identity and dramatically increase its value. Owning one of these rare variations can be a ticket to a windfall in the stamp world, especially if it is authenticated. Now for those watching from the United Kingdom and other parts of the world, you may wonder, why should a U.S. stamp interest an international collector? The answer lies in Abraham Lincoln's global legacy. His story, his struggle, and his leadership during the American Civil War inspired political movements in Europe and influenced future leaders across continents. Collectors from the UK, Germany, Italy, and India often include Lincoln in their worldwide leadership or human rights-themed collections. British-based philatelic shows and online auctions regularly feature Lincoln stamps alongside Churchill, Queen Victoria, and Gandhi, underscoring his relevance to a global audience. On UK marketplaces, mint versions of this stamp are often listed for £150 to £400, and demand is high among history collectors and investors alike. If you happen to own this stamp and wish to preserve it properly, take a few steps to ensure its long-term value. First, never touch the stamp with bare hands, use stamp tongs. Store it in acid-free albums with mylar mounts. If it isn't used, make sure it is away from humidity, light, and temperature swings to protect the gum. Consider professional grading if you suspect your stamp has rare attributes. If selling, list it with high-resolution scans and proper descriptions on trusted platforms like eBay, Hipstamp, or via reputable auction houses like Robert A. Siegel or Heritage Auctions. In 2025, the stamp market has remained strong even amidst inflation and digital currencies. Stamps, like rare coins and art, are becoming increasingly popular among investors looking for alternative tangible assets. The Abraham Lincoln 15-cent stamp is perfectly positioned in this market, not overly rare to be unattainable, yet not common enough to be ignored. It holds deep historical value, emotional appeal, and monetary potential all in one. Whether you're collecting for passion, inheritance, or investment, this stamp is a timeless piece that transcends borders, decades, and collecting trends. Next up, the 15-cent James Buchanan stamp, a quietly significant issue that has found its place in American philatelic history, and we will also take a comprehensive look at how this stamp fits into the current stamp market in 2025. Before we talk about prices, let us understand the history behind them and featured on the stamp and the series to which it belongs. James Buchanan, the 15th President of the United States, served from 1857 to 1861, during one of the most turbulent political periods in American history. His presidency preceded the Civil War and is often examined with critical reflection. Despite controversies surrounding his leadership, Buchanan remains a key historical figure, and his legacy has been immortalized not only in textbooks but also on this deep green U.S. postage stamp. The stamp featuring his bust is part of the Liberty issue, a definitive stamp series first introduced by the United States Postal Service in the 1950s. This series honored American leaders and values, and it replaced the previous presidential series, also known as the Prexies. The design of the 15-cent James Buchanan stamp is simple, refined, and traditional. It displays a side profile of Buchanan, sculpted in a neoclassical style, reminiscent of coins and commemorative medals. The typography is bold, the green color is rich, and the overall layout is clean. Though it was a definitive stamp, used for everyday mailing purposes, it still carries the elegance and significance of a commemorative issue, especially in the eyes of modern collectors. Now, let's discuss what every collector wants to know. What is the value of this stamp today, in 2025? How much is it worth in dollars? And is it worth keeping, selling, or even investing in? These questions are more complex than they may seem, and the answer depends on several important factors that we will now explore in depth. First, the condition of the stamp plays a crucial role in determining its value. There are three main types of condition you will often hear about: mint never hinged, which means the stamp is in perfect and used condition with original gum intact and no marks from hinges or mounts; lightly hinged, where a hinge was applied to the back but without severe damage; and used, which includes stamps that have passed through the mail system and carry cancellation marks. A mint never hinged James Buchanan 15-cent stamp can sell today for around $5 to $10 on average, and in some cases even higher, especially if the centering is perfect and the gum is flawless. These mint stamps are most attractive to collectors who are building high-grade sets or exhibit collections. Lightly hinged or disturbed gum versions tend to fall slightly in value, ranging from $2 to $5 depending on overall appearance. Used versions, which are far more common, are usually valued between 25 cents to $1. However, specific postmarks can add character and sometimes additional value. For instance, a Buchanan stamp with a clean cancellation from a historically significant town or post office, or one used on cover during a special date, might catch the interest of a thematic or postal history collector and could command a higher price. But the value of a stamp is not only about the condition or the design. It's also shaped by supply and demand, and this is where things get interesting in the stamp world of 2025. The number of dedicated collectors worldwide has shifted in recent years. While casual collecting has seen a decline among younger generations, a strong resurgence is happening among adults in their 30s to 60s, who are turning to stamp collecting as a relaxing, tangible, and intellectually engaging hobby. As digital fatigue increases, many are turning back to physical collectibles, and stamps, rich in history and storytelling, are seeing renewed interest. This trend has influenced the prices and availability of mid-century stamps like the Liberty series. Furthermore, stamps like the 15-cent Buchanan are not just being purchased for collecting. Some investors are starting to add classic stamps to their alternative investment portfolios. While stamps don't offer the rapid returns of volatile stocks or cryptocurrencies, they provide a level of historical preservation and diversification that is attractive to long-term investors. As a result, mint-condition Liberty issue stamps have been rising modestly in value year over year. Online marketplaces play a major role in today's stamp economy. Platforms such as eBay, Delcamp, Hipstamp, and even Etsy have created new avenues for stamp trading, pricing transparency, and competition. On eBay, for instance, recent completed sales show mint Buchanan stamps selling for between $5 to $12, depending on condition. Used stamps tend to sell in lots rather than individually unless they have a special attribute. High-quality auctions hosted by professional dealers can see individual Buchanan stamps in exceptional condition or from rare printings reach $15 to $20, especially when graded by expert philatelic organizations. It's also worth noting that not all Buchanan stamps are created equal. Some collectors search for plate block numbers, color variations, misprints, or tagging anomalies that can significantly enhance value. Plate blocks, blocks of 4 stamps with the plate number printed in the margin, are especially desirable when in mint condition, and can command prices upwards of $30 or more if perfectly preserved. Some Liberty Series stamps were printed with slight differences over time, including shifts in color, gum type, or paper. These varieties are subtle but collectible, and advanced philatelists will often pay a premium for a scarce version they've been missing from their albums. As you can see, the value of a single stamp like the James Buchanan 15-cent issue is not fixed but part of a dynamic ecosystem shaped by condition, rarity, demand, and even trends in history and design appreciation. But beyond dollars and cents, the real value of this stamp lies in the story it tells. A story of a nation on the brink of civil war, a leader remembered in complexity, and a mid-century postal service doing its part to educate and honor through everyday mail. Here at Stamps Old World UK, we believe that each stamp is more than just a collector's item. It's a historical artifact, a work of miniature art, and a window into a different time. The James Buchanan stamp may not make headlines in auction houses like the inverted Jenny or the penny black, but it remains a valuable piece in the puzzle of American history and a worthy addition to any serious collector's library. So, what should you do if you own one of these stamps? First, preserve it properly. Use stamp mounts or archival quality stock books to store it. Avoid moisture, direct sunlight, and touching it with bare hands. If you think it's in especially good condition, consider sending it to a professional grading service. Second, research. Look for catalog listings in Scott or Stanley Gibbons. Compare prices on online platforms and track auction results. And third, stay connected with the community. Join a philatelic society, attend virtual stamp shows, and subscribe to expert channels, like ours, Stamps Old World UK. Next up, the 15-cent Statue of Liberty stamp. This particular stamp, steeped in patriotic imagery and historical significance, holds a special place in the hearts of collectors and history enthusiasts worldwide. Whether you're a seasoned philatelist or just starting your collection, understanding the story, design, and current market value of this classic issue will add a new dimension to your appreciation of this timeless piece. Let us begin by exploring the historical context behind the Statue of Liberty itself. Gifted by the people of France and dedicated in 1886, the Statue of Liberty stands as a powerful symbol of freedom, democracy, and hope. Situated on Liberty Island in New York Harbor, it was designed by the sculptor Frederick Auguste Bartholdi, with structural engineering by Gustave Eiffel, the mastermind behind the Eiffel Tower. From the moment it was unveiled, Lady Liberty has become a universal emblem of welcoming immigrants to the United States, embodying ideals of opportunity and liberty. This rich symbolism is precisely why the USPS chose her image for a definitive stamp series that celebrated American values in the mid-20th century. The 15-cent Statue of Liberty stamp was released as part of the Liberty Issue series, which ran from the 1950s through the early 1960s. This series was significant because it replaced the earlier presidential series and represented a shift towards celebrating national symbols, landmarks, and ideals rather than focusing solely on portraits of famous Americans. The design of this stamp is a masterpiece of engraving, featuring a majestic depiction of Lady Liberty standing tall on her pedestal, torch held high as a beacon of hope and freedom. The ornate framing, with its detailed arches and classical flourishes, evokes a sense of grandeur and respect for this national monument. The stamp's deep blue color further emphasizes dignity and solemnity. Examining the artistry, you notice the intricate lines capturing the folds of the statue's robe, the rays of her crown, and the texture of the pedestal. The framing borders, with their delicate scrollwork, elevate the visual appeal and balance the composition. Above the statue, the words, United States Postage, arc in a refined serif font, while below, the denomination, 15 cents, is clearly displayed in bold letters, ensuring the stamp's functional purpose is not overshadowed by its aesthetic beauty. This dual role of form and function is a hallmark of the best postage stamps, miniature works of art that carry immense cultural weight. Turning now to the current market value of this 15-cent Statue of Liberty stamp in 2025, the key factors that determine worth are condition, rarity, demand, and provenance. Condition is paramount in philately. A mint-never-hinged example of this stamp, meaning one that remains unused, with its original gum intact and free from any marks or damage, can command a price between $5 to $15. The higher end of this range is reserved for stamps with exceptional centering, vibrant color, and perfect perforations. Stamps that are off-center, faded, or have gum disturbances will fetch lower prices but still hold collectible value. Used versions, those cancelled through postal service usage, generally sell for less, anywhere from around 50 cents to $2, but exceptions exist. The type of cancellation mark can add or detract value. Light, unobtrusive cancels that allow the design to remain clear are usually more desirable, while heavy or smudged cancellations reduce appeal. Historical postmarks from notable locations or dates, such as first-day covers or commemorative postal events, can elevate the worth of used stamps. Entire envelopes or covers bearing this stamp, especially with historical context, postal routes, or special cancellations, can be much more valuable and highly sought after by postal history collectors. But why does this stamp retain its value and continue to be a sought-after item? The answer lies not only in its beauty and condition but also in the broader trends within the stamp collecting community and the collectibles market. In recent years, physical collectibles have enjoyed renewed interest amid a growing appreciation for tangible assets. Stamps, especially those that carry profound national symbolism like the Statue of Liberty, appeal to both collectors and investors who see them as cultural artifacts and potential storehouses of value. The limited availability of pristine examples and the gradual aging of mid-20th century issues means that good condition copies become harder to find over time, further supporting stable or rising prices. Furthermore, this stamp has attracted the attention of thematic collectors who focus on symbols of freedom, landmarks, and American history. This category of collectors often seeks to build specialized collections where the Statue of Liberty plays a starring role, driving demand beyond the general collector base. Specialty philatelic societies and clubs dedicated to liberty-related stamps host exhibitions, auctions, and forums that create a vibrant market for these items. Additionally, plate blocks and rare printing varieties offer avenues for significant value increases. Plate blocks consist of 4 or more connected stamps still attached to the sheet margin bearing the plate number and are prized for their completeness and rarity. Mint plate blocks of the 15-cent Statue of Liberty stamp can command prices of $30 or more, especially if they are well-centered and have intact gum. Though there are no famously known major printing errors in this particular issue, subtle variations in perforation size, paper texture, or shade of blue can differentiate stamps and add desirability to specialized collectors. For anyone fortunate enough to own this stamp, proper care and storage are essential. Exposure to moisture, heat, and sunlight can damage the gum and fade the ink. Collectors should use archival quality stock books, mounts, and sleeves to protect their treasures. Avoid touching stamps with bare hands to prevent oils and dirt from causing permanent damage. If you are considering selling, it is wise to get your stamp professionally appraised or graded. Grading companies provide authentication and condition ratings that can enhance buyer confidence and potentially increase the market value. Keep in mind that market prices fluctuate based on trends, collector interest, and economic conditions, so staying informed through stamp catalogs, auction results, and online marketplaces is beneficial. At Stamps Old World UK, we take pride in not only showcasing stamps but in educating our viewers about their historical context, artistic merit, and market dynamics. Collecting stamps like the 15-cent Statue of Liberty issue is more than a hobby, it is a connection to history, culture, and art that transcends time. We encourage collectors to immerse themselves in learning about each stamp's story and to engage with fellow enthusiasts to enrich their philatelic journey. To conclude, the 15-cent Statue of Liberty stamp represents a perfect blend of beauty, symbolism, and collectible value. From its elegant design capturing America's most enduring icon to its steady appreciation in the collector market, this stamp remains a cherished piece for philatelists around the world. Whether you own one in pristine condition or a used example with a rich postal history, it is a tangible link to the ideals of freedom and hope that the Statue of Liberty embodies. Thank you for watching this in-depth exploration on Stamps Old World UK. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content covering classic stamps, market trends, and collecting tips, please like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. We invite you to share your own stories and questions about stamps in the comments below. After all, this wonderful hobby grows richer when we share our knowledge and passion. Until next time, keep your collection safe, your curiosity alive, and happy collecting.